Welcome back. Episode 25, Six Pack Sports. We take a couple weeks off. We had some illnesses run through our houses. We got caught up a little bit, but we are back at it and just in the nick of time as next week, actually, no, this upcoming weekend, I will be in Las Vegas for March Madness. So we'll have to talk about that a little bit, as well as a bunch of stuff that's happened over the last 3 weeks, getting all caught up. So to kick it off, Drew, what are we drinking on tonight?
Tonight I am drinking a No Diggity Hazy IPA.
No diggity. Love it.
I mean, if we can do the screen here, maybe on our TikTok, it's like
Yeah.
that kid from Sandlot.
No, it's the Goonies, dude. He's doing the truffle shuffle.
Oh, is that like a real character?
Yeah, that's Chunks
okay.
from he's doing the truffle shuffle.
Well, my apologies for not knowing what
Gotta
the heck
watch
that is,
Goonies,
but
man.
never saw it. No interest, honestly. But
Goonies, it's worth a watch. It's one of those movies that's like it's hard because it's overrated, but it's like people's kid movie they grew up watching, so they love it. But like when you watch it, you're like, oh, it's an 80s movie. So if you didn't watch it when you were a kid, it definitely loses a little of its luster.
I suppose I've had these a couple times. It's a good beer, so that might be a little biased in the ratings at the end, but hey, that's never happened before. Am I right?
No, never one time. Dude, I had some we had some wine with dinner, so I'm just kind of cruising on with that, keeping it classy tonight. I don't even it tastes like a Merlot. It's a Guy Mousse Coste de Rhone. Not half bad. Can't see it.
He's got the whole bottle.
Well, I mean,
wine glass.
I can't show you the label off the glass I pour it into.
That's the best. That's the best part about a podcast is sometimes people don't see the videos if they're not on our TikTok. But
yeah, it's bad radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, he just held up an entire bottle of wine and says, "I'm drinking a glass of wine tonight."
Well, they don't have the labels on the glass, so I do what I can for the people.
I'll tell you what. Speaking of alcohol, I need alcohol to get through this NBA season.
It's so bad. I care so little about the NBA. I'd say for the last like 5 or 6 years. I can't get into it.
I am at like a loss of words. Like I have this entire little paragraph prepped on my script of like what I want to say, but like it just means nothing now.
Yeah.
Like I am so over, especially with today's news of Ja Morant. I don't know if you saw it or not.
I didn't see today's. We'll
dive into that a little bit later on, but like I just can't get over the fact how the game has changed just in the past 3 to 4 years to where it's just no loyalty, no defense. The All-Star game. I know this was 2 weeks ago and it was on our script for a couple weeks. We were sick. I had I had a funeral to attend, which halted us from recording one night. But like, did you watch any of the All-Star game?
No, I think we watched something else. I can't remember what was on, but there was something else on we wanted to watch. I can't remember if it was a fight or what, but no, didn't watch a second of it. Did see the dunk champion highlights, which I know we have on here for later, but it looked silly. They do a schoolyard pick'em now. Everybody, you kind of nailed it. Like with everybody moving around, and we talked about it a lot. Everybody's all buddy. I remember back, and even the old heads will talk about like the 80s and 90s as the golden age of basketball, which I was too young for. But even the early 2000s, when you had Kobe and Shaq, the Pistons were good. The Spurs were dominant. Like people weren't really changing teams. Dallas with Dirk Nowitzki was really good. There were all these teams going at each other. And then rookie LeBron comes in and like basically willed the Cavs to being relevant. And you didn't have as much jumping around until Boston and KG and Ray Allen, and that kind of set a lot of things in motion. And you remember before that, was it David Stern blocked CP3 from coming to LA because he's like, you guys would be too much. CP3 and Kobe.
That's too much. Oh yeah.
And then now
we don't want super teams.
It's all Adam Silver's like, do whatever you want. We don't care.
Yeah. Adam Silver says, make as much money as we can with these super teams. But like, I feel like in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, I feel like rookies coming in, they understood the assignment that if you're a first round pick, the team's going to build around you. It's going to take 5 to 6 years. There's going to be struggles. There's going to be playoff losses. You can still get your stats and your awards, but you got to get through it and build a team.
Mhm.
Build a team. That's why I
You've
respect the
seen the
Warriors so much. They built their team.
yeah, but I mean, and they did it without KD too. Like he came in for a couple years left, and they
Yeah,
still were
that was
able to
so
win.
big.
Huge. And you know that irks at him because he left to go get one without him, and they got one. So you know that just
100%.
kills the Slim
100%.
Reaper. And you've seen the interviews with like Magic and Jordan and Isaiah and those guys, and he's just like, I never wanted to leave the Bulls, Jordan, and go join the Magic and go join the Pistons because they were beating me up. I wanted to beat them. I wanted to get better and beat that team. And you saw that through the 90s and the 2000s. But you watched The Last Dance, right?
I did.
Yeah, he kind of touched on that. He's like, it drove him to going back and beat all these teams when he
Well,
lost to them. It never even occurred to him to try and leave
look
Chicago.
look at how many times Jordan had the opportunity to leave.
Yeah, he had a few.
He retired in 93. He could have came to a different team in
Mhm.
94, 95 when he came back.
Off topic, do you think that he really went to play baseball, or do you think it was like a gambling thing and he is
I
the shadow suspension? It's one of my favorite, like,
It's a shadow
urban
suspension.
myths.
It's not even a conspiracy. It is the best well-kept secret of the NBA. And we're never gonna find out. David
It'll
Stern's dead. Michael Jordan will never talk. Like, we're dude got suspended. Pure and
It's gonna
simple.
be like those CIA, like, grassy knoll documents. They're gonna
Correct.
come out in like 100 years. Like our kids will know. They'll be like, "Yeah, did you hear this stuff with that Michael Jordan guy?" He'll be like their Babe Ruth, and it'll come out. It'd be like us finding out Babe Ruth was taking steroids.
Well, it's kind of like politics too, as well, is these rumors will come out of what probably happened with the conspiracy theories, and NBA is like, "Nope, didn't happen."
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Our kids will know,
that's
but we're
that's
never
fake
gonna
news.
know.
That's fake news.
It's like when we find out, oh, the Kennedys got their money from being bootleggers, and like in the '60s, that would have been crazy for them to talk about, but we just know it. It's fact.
Yeah.
I love it. You have Karl
Back
Malone on there, so
Yeah,
I didn't watch the
back to the
All-Star
All-Star
game.
game. They trotted him out, and
How?
it was so cringeworthy because, listen, was he an NBA all-time great? Yeah, he was. He was very good at basketball. He was very competitive. He played every game, which I respected. And we'll talk a little bit about
Yeah, but he's like a
um,
fucking pedophile.
he is a well-known, well-documented pedophile, which is
How,
scary.
how old
The
was the girl he knocked up? Like 14?
He slept with, impregnated, and abandoned a 13-year-old.
A 13-year-old? And when he was like, and just
I
for
think
thing,
he
it was
was
like when he was like 21, 22,
I
right?
think he was 18 or 19. His first year of college at Louisiana State
Oh,
or
I don't know, man.
Louisiana
13.
Tech.
Whew,
Louisiana Tech. Uh,
that's a
It's
rough look.
cringeworthy. It's bad. And the NBA, I
Yeah, it's
thought,
not
did a
like he got
great
a
job.
DUI or something like that. Like you gotta distance yourself from that. You can't support somebody that has that history.
I thought the NBA did a great job after he retired to just let him be. But to bring
Yeah.
him back in 2023 when the hype and the wokeness crowd is against that.
I
Whew,
think not even the wokeness crowd. I think this is one that both sides like this can unite. This is a bipartisan effort. This can
yeah,
unite the left and the right. We're just like we're
wokeness
all
crowd is
anti.
a yeah, wokeness crowd was a bad example and a bad like
I get what your point though, like with the Me Too movement, like all
yeah.
the women's empowerment stuff. How on earth can you possibly go with someone like that? But to your point, like it's just bad all around. There's nobody. Nobody's gonna. That's weird. It's a weird move.
It
Let's talk
was
about something fun though. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
at the end of the day, final sip on that. Cringeworthy. Carl Malone, get rid of him.
The
It's bad.
mailman. Doesn't work on Sundays, shouldn't be trotted out any day
Hey,
of the week.
like any post office worker, give him his pension, let him ride off. See you later.
Oof. One of the fun stories that I saw via Twitter, because I didn't watch a second of any of it, was the Mac McClung dunk champion. Now, correct me if I got his story wrong, but he was not on any NBA roster to start the year. And then he
No.
got picked up by one of their G League teams. And then he was on a 10-day contract before he somehow got into the dunk contest.
So Mac McClung, I've actually been following him since high school. He came up on my For You page on TikTok when he was in high school. I was like, dude, this dude can dunk. He's fun to watch. I'm gonna follow him. This is cool. I followed him to Georgetown. It didn't work out at Georgetown. He went to Texas Tech. I was like, dude, this guy is awesome at basketball. I wish he was a little bit taller because
He's
obviously
only
he's too.
6'2", right?
I maybe he's a
I think
Bryce
I
Young
saw
six
that's what he
two.
was. He was. Oh yeah, he's a
He's a
real
Bryce
world
Young.
6 foot flat.
Yeah, but he was in the G League, and this is how bad the NBA is right now. We got John Morant, we got LeBron, we have superstars that can dunk the basketball with power, with finesse, with marketing capabilities. But oh no 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 no! NBA best we can do is a G League
10-day
5 foot
contract
10
guy.
10-day contract guy, and
If he is 5'10", that's like me dunking out there. And let me tell you, on my best days, I think I could dunk a tennis ball.
listen, if this guy was 6'3", I think he would be a great career guy in the NBA. He's just too small. It sucks.
Yeah,
I Dude's got so much power. He's got so much jump. He won 100K winning the dunk contest, and I looked up his salary. He's played in 2 NBA games in his career, and he's made $106,000 in his NBA career.
a quick double
So
up, man.
he doubled up in 45 minutes, which
That's
is great for
awesome.
him.
That's awesome. Love the story, but I wish that stars were in it. Like
Yes,
when we grew up being kids, we get to watch like Vince Carter and Kobe
Kobe,
and all the good, like all the stars they wanted to win. I want to say Sean Kemp was in one when he was in his
Sean Kemp.
prime.
Uh,
Don't
I
quote
know
me
this
on
is
that.
Scottie Pippen jumped from the free throw line. I mean, he wasn't a star, but he was an all-star. He
Yeah.
was an NBA name. I don't know if you remember like D Brown of the Celtics.
Yeah,
Um,
and like Spud Webb, where he was all five
Spud
foot
Webb.
five of them got out
Yes.
there and got after it. Like there were some really cool ones, and now gee, it's cool. Mac McClung won. It's a cool story. He had no business being there,
None.
none
None.
whatsoever.
The NBA has no business inviting G League
Yeah,
athletes.
it's just weird. It's weird. The actual game wasn't the final score like 179, 185 or something crazy
I
like that.
I don't even I can't even count that high.
What's
It was
worse?
bad with a capital B.
What's worse, the NBA All-Star game where they just like go back and forth and shoot threes and don't play D, or the NFL trying to do a flag football game?
The NBA.
Yeah.
10 out of
Well,
10 times. The flag football game was actually pretty successful. They
I
were happy
couldn't
with.
couldn't watch it. It just annoyed me they were doing it.
I get that, but I enjoyed watching that because there were still a lot of cool plays that were happening. But
Sure.
um, Denver Nuggets coach Mike Malone, it's an honor to be here. It's an honor to be part of this great weekend, great players. But this was the worst basketball game I've ever been involved in. Later saying, they put on a show for the fans, but that was a tough game to sit through. End quote. That's a
It's
direct
not
quote.
basketball. It's not basketball. Oh my god. I almost spit my drink out when you were reading that quote. Give that dude a medal. You said that was the head coach for the Nuggets. Love
Yeah, the
him.
Nuggets, and he was the head coach of one of the teams. Like
Calls it like he sees it. That's
I
great.
I respect it, but my question for you is, how do we fix this?
You know, I want to say I don't know a lot about the NBA All-Star game payments back in the day, but I know for the NFL, it used to be like the winning team got 60 grand, the losing team got like 30. So I don't know if they can make it incentive
I
based.
I don't
Baseball
think
tried to
I don't
do
think
home field
money's not
advantage.
going to.
Baseball tried to do home field advantage for the World Series.
I
Remember?
actually love that rule.
I
I
thought
loved
that
it.
was great. as a fan, like, oh my god, there's real world stakes in this now.
Correct. Yes.
Um, I thought that was kind of a cool way to do it. How do you fix the NBA All-Star game? It's gonna sound silly, but, like, the only people that can fix it are the players. The players have to decide.
100%.
Somebody has to be that jerk and is like, "I wanna win this game, and I wanna win it handily." Like, I don't wanna give up 190. I don't wanna give
Uh,
up 100. We've gotta go out there and smoke them. Like, let's not
so
even let them touch it.
The NBA needs a Michael Jordan or a Kobe Bryant,
Yeah, I
basically.
mean, they need another killer.
Yeah.
As somebody I heard this argument, I think it was JJ Redick was talking about LeBron. He's like, "The only thing wrong with LeBron, and the reason people don't mention him in the same breath as Kobe and MJ," and he goes,
He's
"When he
not an
deserves."
assassin.
They're like, he goes, "He's a nice guy." Like, he's a genuinely nice guy. He's a smart, well-kept, like, keeps his business pretty low key, nice guy. But when you look at all of LeBron's statistics, he's right there. Like, he has every stat that you can make an argument of to why he should be considered the greatest, if not
Statistically
the all-time
speaking,
great. Agreed.
he's in there.
Statistically, I Michael Jordan's my goat. Kareem Abdul's up there for me for stats and some other things. But when JJ was breaking down, even like his clutch points, the amount of times and how many game
100%.
winners he's hitting, all that. Every argument people make is to when they say LeBron's not the goat, JJ countered it, and I had never
He's
heard that
also,
argument before. So to
I
me,
heard
I'm
this
like,
today.
that's the issue is you just don't have guys that dislike each other, that want to show each other up at every stage of the game. The only people that can fix it are the players.
I heard this today as well. LeBron's fourth all time in assists.
Yeah, he's an incredible passer.
I'm
He's
sure he's
like
up there in rebounds as well. But
somebody made the argument for him on points, like, oh, he's just played a long time. So then they did his average points per game, and he's fifth, and like KD's in front of him by like
mhm,
a tenth of a point. And then I
correct.
can't remember who the other guy was. It's not Earl the Pearl, but it was somebody like that. It was an old head.
It was
It
Elgin
was Elgin
Baylor,
Baylor, and
Wilt, and Jordan.
they were like 27.3, 27.2, and 27.1 a game, and then I think Kobe and LeBron were above them by like a point or two. The margin of
Correct.
difference was so small. It was really wild to me to hear how statistically good he was, and I still hate him. And it's not because he's a nice guy, and I've said it before. It's because of what he did to the Pistons in 2007, and he just ended their reign. Like, once LeBron
It's it's
became
that
the face of
and
the NBA, they're like, you're never going to be a good team again. LeBron will be winning the East for the entirety of his stay in Cleveland. It was the
it's
end
it's
of our
that
era.
it's that and building the big three and ruining the NBA that do it for me. I'm actually more
Yeah,
mad that he ruined the NBA with creating teams and being the
super
GM
teams.
than
Yeah,
beating the Pistons. The Pistons had their chance. We're at the end of our run at that point. It just sucked that it was too early at that
yeah.
time. I have two things that I think that could fix the All Star game.
I
My
want to hear
first
him.
one, my first one is have the same amount of All Stars, but USA versus World. Have 12 USA born
I love
guys
that.
on one All Star team. Have 12 World All
I
Stars.
love that.
Have have them compete against each other. You don't. You can't tell me that Giannis is going to go into that game and say,
Oh
uh,
no, that's
let's not
incredible.
play defense.
Giannis and
Let's
Luca out there are going to go hard. That would
correct.
be
And
so
the
fun.
Joker, you got the Joker.
Yeah, he's an
I'm
Eastern
drawing up.
European monster MVP. You got 4 out of the last 5 MVPs, or 5, is it all 5? Giannis, Luka,
Well, Luca
and
doesn't have any
Jokic?
MVPs, but he's
You
been
he
in the
didn't
top
Jokic got the last 2 or 3, right? And Giannis got
two.
1. Sorry, I thought
He
Luka
got
had
two in a
1.
row. I
So,
think
I mean,
Giannis and the Joker have the last four. So
yeah, so I mean that I would very much like to see that.
I think that would create a twist. It would create a worldwide. This is the new NBA, world
Mhm.
versus USA. Not versus, but they're going to
It's
compete
exactly
now.
what it is. It's exactly
The
what it is.
My other thing
Imagine
was
imagine how patriotic everybody gets by that, because if there's one thing that
100%.
unites America, it's the dream team.
Mhm.
Like, that's something that brings out every race, religion, and creed. We're on this. Let's go Team USA. I love it. I love USA versus the world for the NBA All-Star game. That's the
100%.
best thing you've said. That's the best thing you've said on this
Oof.
podcast.
You know what? I'm not even gonna take credit for it. My cousin gave me the idea.
Shout out to your cousin. It was a
Yeah.
great take.
Benjamin, nice call. I don't think he listens to the podcast, but maybe if you split that up, I'll send
I'll
it to him.
post that one. You can tag him.
So my other option, this was actually my idea, the second option. Gus Macker style, round robin, 3-on-3 tournament. Have
I
6
don't hate that because I like
random.
the Gus Macker.
Yeah, it's awesome. It could be an entire day thing. Guys get rests. Imagine the marketing that they could do on an all-day event. 10-minute games up
Yeah,
to
if you
12.
take
No
out
threes, no twos. Everything's 1 point.
I love it. Personally, I love it. I think it's super entertaining. If you take away the logistics of like TV and how they'd have to cover it and maybe not like it because it's too long, I think that would be really cool too. I think if I had to rank them, it's definitely the USA versus the world for the
For
All-Star
sure.
game.
I think that
Um,
is I think that's more of a legitimate
I
change
think
that they
that would
could
be great.
implement.
Do you think they could get enough for the 12 international, like, All-Stars to
That's
actually
that
I
is
think
one
that's the
that
only
is
hang
one
up
thing.
there,
Yeah. But if
but
they
I really
start
like
saying
it.
if they start saying, "Hey, all-star, we got 12 Americans, 12 Europeans. It's either you're in or
I'm
out."
good with it. It's basically the Ryder Cup. Let's do it. Let's get a like and do it for everything. Do the three-point contest and all the different skill competitions and do it like a point system
Mhm.
and they can win the All-Star Cup.
NBA, do better.
That yeah, at NBA,
At
those are
NBA, seriously, this is an issue. At NBA, fix it.
both of those ideas are much more watchable than what we saw or what you saw because I didn't watch. That's how bad it is. I didn't
Well,
even bother.
I watch the dunk contest because it's just my thing.
Why not?
It is. It is one of the better ones that I've seen in the last 4 or 5 years.
Which is sad that a G leaguer won it, and that was one of the better ones.
Right.
I did see the dunk. It was pretty great. The kid's got hops, man. So anyway, moving on.
Speaking
Ja
of somebody
Morant.
with
What happened to Ja Morant?
okay, so allegedly, it's actually not allegedly, it's actually been proven true, brought a gun to a road trip. So not only did
Gilbert
he
Arenas was doing that back in 2000.
that's exactly what I told my buddy. I was like, "Gilbert Arenas already taught us when you fuck around, you find out on this situation. Like, leave your
This
guns at home,
leave him at
NBA
home.
players."
Have a turtle that holds your
It's
stash and your stuff. I don't know
yes.
how many times we can say it.
I it's actually extremely common sense how this process works, NBA
It's
players.
so easy to
So
not take a gun into the locker room.
he
Everywhere I go,
brought
I don't bring a gun in.
well, the biggest thing, it's not the locker room, it's the flight to Denver that is making an extremely big deal about this. And he went either Instagram live or Instagram just like story where
So
he's
he
brandishing it.
at every level of this story, I was like, well, you could have stopped it so many times. And then you hit the Instagram live and it's just the coffin nail. That might be the stupidest thing you can do.
Also, in the last week or so, he got in a fight with a high school kid.
Love it.
I,
Love
I don't
just,
I don't know
yeah.
much information on that, but like
Everybody's been on him for, I'd say, the last month or so to stop trying to act like he's tough in your hood. It's like, just play basketball. It doesn't
just play
matter.
basketball. Uh, if you want to dance and celebrate on the court, that's cool. I'm
Yeah, I
into
don't
that.
mind that.
Do your gritty. I like it. It's
I'm all
showtime.
for
It's
it.
fine.
I like when the players have fun. I don't like when the players bring guns on flights.
Here's also what I
I
kind of
feel
liked
like that's
about
a
John
fair
Morant.
line to draw. I love that he tries to dunk on everybody, I will
I
say.
here's what I liked about John Morant that we just complained about in the last 10 minutes is he's saying it's me against the NBA. My team, the Grizzlies, we're good. We're going to be competitive. I want this team to win. but then you go do stupid stuff like this. Like, stop it.
Yeah,
Stop
like,
it.
I was on your side. I very much liked what you were building out there in Denver. I like your mindset, and then you bring a gun
Memphis,
on a
Memphis,
plane. Oh,
Memphis.
sorry, what did I say?
You said Denver.
Oh,
He
sorry,
brought a
so
he
I was
brought a
thinking I
gun
was
on a
thinking
flight to Denver.
I was thinking Joker. I gotcha.
Yeah.
Sorry. So you say the sentence and I know it's very serious, but I can't help but laugh. I'm like, what are you thinking? Why bring a gun? What is the best case scenario? Let's
Hey,
let's talk through your best case scenario. Bring a gun on the plane. Somebody
it's
tries
no,
to
it's so funny you say that.
somebody tries to rob the team getting off the plane, and you can pull your gun out and shoot them on the tarmac. What is the purpose here? There's no good ending for you.
It's so funny you said that because growing up, when I made mistakes, instead of my dad like yelling at me or belittling me, he would just have this straight, honest question. What was your positive plan with that? Like, okay, drinking out in the field with your buddies, and
Dad,
you decide to go into town and get something, get a snack. Like, what was your plan there?
I don't know,
And
Dad. Have you ever had
every
Taco Bell at 2 a.m.?
every single time I'm like, "Good, you got me." I feel so bad. I will never do that again. He never
Feels
yelled at me.
feels so
He
little and
never yelled at
stupid.
me. He never belittled me, but
Yeah.
he just made me understand how stupid
Parents have a
my
way of
my
doing
plan
that.
was.
I'm not mad at you. I'm just disappointed. What was your best case?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think through is I got my gun. It's just got to be, I think I'm too big to fail. I'm too famous. I can do whatever I want. That's
Oh,
just
100% I got too
ludicrous.
big.
Yeah.
100% I got too big. It's me against the world. I'm gonna do what I want. I'm gonna look tough.
That's
Just
stupid.
do better.
Well,
So to close on that, he has the potential to be charged with for carrying a gun on an aircraft, which in the United States of America, that is a big deal.
is that gonna he could be on like that terror blacklist. What if he's not allowed to fly? Is he gonna have to
Um,
like buy a private jet everywhere?
so I think that's going to get
Or he's
brushed.
gonna
That's going to get brushed on the
Well, he's gonna
rug.
have to
I'm
go
fine
John
with that.
Madden. He's gonna have to get the coach that he's
Well,
just gonna have to bus all over the country.
well, worst case scenario, that's 10 years in jail.
Oh my
No big
god.
deal. But
Just his career.
so in
Hundreds
the
of
end,
millions of dollars.
um, the I don't know what article. I feel terrible saying this because I didn't put down the article, but um, this article said that this could cost him $39.2 million on his next contract.
I mean, if he gets thrown in 10 years of prison, it's gonna cost him
No,
hundreds
no,
of mil
just the situation has the article
for
explained it. The
I
article
I
explained it. I
get
wish I put
mad
down
when
more
I
notes,
lose
but
like 50 or 100 or a few $100. 40 million. He made a
well, I'm
$40 million mistake.
I'm pissed that I bought this mic and it's broken for $40.
I mean,
Imagine,
just
uh,
times that mistake by a million. That's what he did. That's what he
I,
did today.
I'll tell you what, my guns, nobody gets to see them ever. Nobody knows where they are except me.
Yeah. I mean, if the government's listening, I don't have guns. This is Florida, okay? As soon as we moved down here, they handed me
Uh,
fireworks and a gun, and they said,
yeah,
"Welcome to the state."
without getting too political, we are extremely right wing individuals with,
I'm not extremely right wing.
well, we like our rights. So there's that.
I would
Moving
say
on.
I'm conservative, but like I'm not joining any groups out there in West Michigan trying to kidnap the governor.
Oh, that's a thing.
You don't remember?
Oh, I
You
remember.
remember like when they tried to kidnap Big
Yes.
Gretch?
What?
All right,
What are you going to do with Big Gretch anyway?
they were gonna kill her.
Well, yeah, I guess that was the end game. We should have had my old man there. Hey, what was your end game there, guys?
Guys, did you really think this through? All right. Um, last topic
Final sip on John Morant.
on John Morant.
Do better.
Yeah,
That's
I'm so
that's the
curious
title. That's the title of this podcast
of the
today.
NBA in general. NBA do
Do
better.
better.
this is an inflection point for John Morant. Depending on what happens here, the rest of his life can either be really good or really bad.
Well,
This is like he's on a razor's edge right now. Right now.
I it's funny you say that because I was on my Fox app this morning, and the main article was John Morant working his way through the healing process. And I was like, healing process? Healing from what? Being a dummy?
Being stupid.
He's not
Ugh.
healing from anything.
Yeah,
He's trying to
he's
act
putting
tough.
his head in the sand and trying to weather the storm is what he should be doing.
Healing process. Get the out of here. Moving on. Let's complain about the NBA more. What's our next topic?
Does the
Jeez, oh,
NBA
Pete's.
have a load management problem? Players
Yes.
sitting out games. I've always been of the mindset, if you're healthy, you should play.
Yeah.
If you're healthy, you should play. I'm not saying you got to go out and play 40 minutes a game. You know, if you want to go and you want to play 20 some weeks and, do your load management that way, that's fine. But to
That
not
is
play,
exactly what I put as fixing the issue on this.
yeah, to not go out at all. And then you've heard, I'm not going to go too deep on it. We've talked about the NBA a lot tonight, as much as we have on our pod so
The
far.
entire podcast, yes.
But like Charles Barkley had a really good thought on it. He's like, there's just so many people that come out that can come to maybe one game a year that save up, bring their
Yep.
kids out to see LeBron, to see KD, to see the superstars, to see their favorite players. And if you sit, like, I know it sucks, but like those people came for you. You're not a bench guy. You're not a role player. Like when you're the superstar, that's heavy is the head that wears the crown.
100%. You're
So
getting
that's
paid.
my
You're
thought
getting
on it.
paid to be that guy as
To
well.
play, yeah. And that's why
So
you're getting the max contract. Like if you're getting the max contract, I need the max minutes. I need the max games.
I looked it up. Data from the last 10 years, the average NBA players that play 82 games has gone down every year except one since 2012. It's
Was
gotten
it
worse
2020?
every
Yeah.
single year. The amount of players that play, 78 to 82 games.
Yeah.
Every single year, it's gone down. So how do we fix this?
Yeah.
Reason number
oh,
one I got. Eliminate the preseason. You could have rookie ball, but
yeah.
nothing else.
Let the
Eliminate the
rookies
preseason.
play.
That's like 7 to 10 games, which is 3 weeks worth of basketball. It's fine.
Yep.
That's a lot of time. Shorten the playoffs. Not only did they extend the playoffs out of 5-game series,
And let's be honest,
they added a week of
the
playing
first
games.
round of the playoffs is a joke. Give me 3 game sets in the first round.
The 10 seed of a conference does not deserve to play playoff basketball.
Yeah, let's cut it back down to 8.
Cut it back down to 8.
Cut it back
Make the
down to
first
8.
2 rounds best of 5.
Go to
Conference
6.
finals.
I don't care if you go to 6.
Well, you can't have a best of 6 series.
No. Top 6 teams.
Oh, top 6 teams.
Yeah, give the first, like, just copy the NFL essentially. Just give me the first 2 rounds on a bye.
I'm actually perfectly fine with that.
Yeah.
Historically speaking, I like to keep the same amount of possibility games possible for record keeping, but I'm fine with that if they made that decision.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to die on that hill.
Sure. Get rid of the play-in nonsense. It's a cool opportunity.
I like the plan. I like the
Why?
plan.
So you could watch Patrick Beverly run around like he won the championship and then get swept the next round. That's garbage.
You immediately took my legs out from under me on that.
Yeah,
you know what?
true.
I take it back. You know what I do like it in is I like it in baseball because you only get the top 4 teams in. So the playing game is really cool.
Yes.
So I'll give you
the playing game.
I'll give you that. The playing game doesn't have its spot in all sports.
Here's the thing about the playing game in baseball. The playing team can make the World Series.
Yeah. It can't in basketball.
No, they're like 0-8 in making it past the next round. It's garbage time. It's marketing. It's trying to make a little bit more money.
It's getting extra TV time. It's getting extra ad dollars. You're right.
It's adding more load to the
Drew, when
players
you're
is
right,
what
when
it's
you're
for.
right, you're right. When you're right,
Oh,
you're right.
what are you trying to say,
I'm saying you're
shut up?
right. Oh, no, I'm just giving it to you. That was a good point. I
So
wanted to
to
like it
piggyback
because I always like when series have added stakes. So like, oh, it's cool because you get your shot to get in. But in the NBA, when you're talking about getting into the 10th seed, you both have losing records. It takes a little bit of the shine off of it.
it's stupid. So I am gonna piggyback off what you said. Instead of sitting out the entire game, play half or 1/3 of your regular
Yeah.
games. And you don't even have to make it to like, "Oh, I have an ankle injury, I'm not gonna play the rest of the game." Just ask the coach, "Hey, instead of 8-minute runs, give me 5-minute runs."
Yeah.
It's fine.
And if you're hurt, that's not what I
Uh,
mean. Like if you're hurt, don't play. You can't play if you're injured. But
correct.
like if you can play, you should play. Try and help your team win.
You know what sport doesn't have this problem? Is the NFL.
Hockey. NFL doesn't either. Hockey doesn't. Those
Like,
guys would rather die than not play a game.
correct.
Baseball is hit or miss. I got into this argument a lot in high school and in college because in Michigan, the hockey guys are very passionate that they're the toughest. And I'm like, no arguments. You guys play the psycho sport with knives strapped to your feet, skating
It's
around on
crazy.
ice. Like
It's
you guys are
it's
nuts. You guys
going
commit and
very
like
fast.
you fight, which is just assault. You guys are just allowed to assault each other on the ice randomly. Um,
It's the best
like
part.
but they're like, yeah, and then you've got guys out here that have turf toe and they don't play. I was like, well, you should talk to Deion Sanders because he got like 3 of his toes amputated because of turf toe and playing through it. There's just some things you can't do. Like the argument that one that made me mad is they were talking about a pitcher that he couldn't pitch because he had a cut on his finger, and I was like, I understand the point you're trying to make. You got hockey players that play with broken collarbones and stuff. But if you're throwing a ball 98 miles an hour, 95 miles an hour, if I'm a batter, I don't want the pitcher throwing to me with a bloody finger and that thing getting up high
Well,
and tight on the face.
also, when you have a cut on your finger and you're trying to throw 90, that cut takes off 40 miles per hour
It's
velocity.
it's just crazy. So those were always the funny things to me on
Yeah.
like the differences between sports and what you can and can't do. All right. Final thoughts. Does the NBA have a load management issue? Absolutely. There's tons of ways to fix it.
Tons of
Do
ways to fix it.
our
We're
last. I'm
not
gonna I'm gonna
we're
steal your
not
line.
reinventing the wheel on what we're not providing bombshell ideas. These are easy
This isn't
concepts.
rocket science.
Yes.
We're not Matt Patricia in here. This is just common sense stuff. NBA, do better.
Your
Do
boy,
better.
Matt Patricia. Your boy.
Yeah, I loved the hire initially, and oh my god, I've never been more wrong about anything.
He had a great beard.
He had a great beard. I mean, he came from Belichick. I was like, maybe he'll be the one to get out. And then they got just smoked in the Super Bowl. And I was like, oh no, our defensive genius coach just gave up 43. It's like I'm sure he'll be fine for us though. And the awesome defense of Detroit always puts together.
Final sip on the NBA. Do
Do
better.
better.
Bring
To
me
a
into the
fun
next topic.
to a fun segment. We're going to build a 6-pack again this week. We really like these. We have fun doing them. Hope you guys like them too. This week, as it's kind of just an all over the place sports weekend, we're going to have more stuff coming up. We are going to do things in society that are just 100% a scam, but everybody accepts like it's normal. We just deal with it. Drew, you get the first beer this week. Kick us off.
Wow. Look at you. I'll tell you what, my first beer, this one hits home. And I hope all those parents out there understand where I'm coming from with this. But the first thing in society that is 100% a scam, but we just accept it and move on, is daycare costs.
All
And
I know.
the fact that I have to pay for a day if one, the daycare's closed, two, I keep my kids home, or three, school's canceled and they're too full and I have to watch them on my own. Still have to pay for it. That's a
Wild.
scam.
Wild.
It's a scam.
Can you imagine you had like a lawn service? They're supposed to come and mow your lawn. They're like, it rained today. We didn't mow, so you can bring them. We'll come back next week, but you still have to pay us for this week's mow.
That's how you immediately get upgraded to fired.
Quick way to not
Quick.
have a customer. But I think you nail it, and then with childcare things too, they've got you bent over a barrel because there are only so many, and there's only so many good ones. So
I'll tell you what.
if you say, "I don't wanna pay," there's like, "Great, we'll just go to the next person on the
Yep,
wait
great.
list.
You're cut.
Thanks,
You're
see you
cut. Yep.
later."
Not only am I bent over barrel, I'm getting shown all 50 states. It's that bad.
Glad you got the reference.
Yes.
My first beer of the things that are a scam, it's college. I think as someone with a college degree, such a scam. Unless you're going to be like a doctor or a lawyer or something that really requires it, an engineer, something that you need that type of higher education, you don't need a marketing degree. You don't need a communications degree. I'm going to say it, you don't need a degree to teach elementary school. If you can go ahead and do simple math, you should be able to go through like a little certification program. Like if I can be a nurse in 2 years, I should be able to teach elementary school students in 2 years. If I can administer medication, I can handle a toddler. Not to take anything away from teachers having 2 young children in the house. I understand what a handful they are. I'm just saying I don't think you need 4 years and $100,000 worth of debt to do it.
Here's a
Crazy to
sub
me.
here's a subplot underneath your first beer is unpaid internships where you have to pay in tuition. So I'm
Yeah.
paying to provide labor. That blows my mind.
Yeah, that's pretty nuts.
I'm piggybacking off yours to make
I'm gonna
it.
give you that. Yeah, unpaid
Oh, okay.
internships.
So your first beer was a Guinness. I just threw a shot of
You just
Jameson in there.
you just threw a little boiler maker. I like it. You're not wrong, and that's gonna be your second beer is the unpaid internship?
Oh no. I just piggybacked off yours.
Oh, you
Sorry.
just dropped in a little extra? No, yeah, that's bananas to me, the unpaid part, because the only people that can do that are people that their parents are helping them. Like, you can't do that if you're a person that has to pay rent or eat. Like, you just can't.
Or feed yourself.
Right.
So 10 years
Food,
ago,
shelter.
10 years ago, I would have taken this argument to the grave. I'm saying college is the future. It's the future.
Yeah.
Now, if my children get to the age where it's time to choose being an entrepreneur or a skilled laborer with an advancement somewhere or college, if they have a legitimate plan, I'm going to support that.
Yeah, it really
10
depends
years
what you
ago,
wanna
10 years
do.
ago, I would have not accepted that as an option. I would said, no, you're going to college.
Yeah,
But
I mean, if
now,
you I don't know, I think we're gonna see a shift, especially by the time in
there's a
15
shift coming.
years when our kids
Yes.
there, because the prices are getting outrageous, and every job I went to, people are like, "Oh, we'll just teach you everything you need to know here," or, "I learned it after the fact." Especially a lot
Mhm.
of the creative, like the digital stuff. Like when I took all my stuff, the video editing classes, sound design, all of that stuff was outdated in like 2 or 3 years, and I had to learn all new stuff in the real world. Um, all right, what's your second beer?
My second beer, things that are a scam, we just accept it. Ticket Master. Garbage.
The
It's
Senate has your
garbage.
back on that one. You're right. It's a monopoly.
It is a monopoly.
It's a
I,
monopoly.
and I don't know how to fix it.
Um,
There's actually no significant master plan to fix that.
I think didn't they have to do this to like the oil or railroad companies back in the 1900s and like straight up break them up? So you can't have all these different things. Like they need to
I,
break up. Okay, you have a ticket master for sports, and you have one that can do rock concerts and one that can do pop concerts,
the
and you
only
have to
thing that I
compete
can
with each
think of
other.
is
And you
you
can't
can,
charge $150 ticket management fee for a digital ticket they send me
right.
instantaneously.
The only way I think they can police it is, let's say you want to go to a Rod Stewart concert, bless his heart, 78 years old.
I
He's
do want to go to
blo-
a Rod Stewart concert.
I've been to three of them. They're awesome. I grew up
He's got a
listening to Rod
residency
Stewart.
in Vegas. I'm going to try and go see him this
He
week.
does, yeah. Seriously, if you do, tell me how it is. His dances are awesome. Anyway, if I want to go to a Rod Stewart concert, I should have to buy my tickets with my state registered ID. That ID is then in the registry. I can't buy any more tickets.
Yeah,
Pure and
that's
simple. And you have to
I
buy
don't
from the
know.
venue. I,
Mhm.
I don't know. Ticketmaster. Hey, $50 ticket. Nope, not anymore. 180. Or when Luke Combs is coming to town, somebody buys up 40 of them
Mhm.
and then resells them. It's garbage. It's a
Yeah, I mean,
scam,
making a
and it's
law
just
for
accepted.
concert tickets, one thing that would help is if you made a law that you weren't allowed to resell tickets for above market value online, and then you make all the tickets digital. Because right now you go on Ticketmaster, they sell out, and then they put them right back on there 2 and 3
Mhm.
times markup. Just like, no, you're maxed that you can only make your money back. Well, you can sell them at face value if you can't
And
go.
what's the point of that? There's
Well, if you
no
can't if you couldn't go for some
oh,
reason
if you
and
couldn't
you
go. I
yeah,
got you. Yeah, 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 yeah.
right, you changed your mind, you just didn't want them anymore, like, something comes up, you can
Yeah.
throw them on there, somebody else could buy them at face value. So, that would be my thought process on it. They've already got the infrastructure. Anyway, I'm with you on that, and I didn't have that on my list. It's a great second pick. For my number 2 pick, I'm going with, like, auto repair shops, auto body shops. Mainly because I have no idea if my shit is broken or not. I don't know
Not a
what is and
clue.
isn't broken.
Not one clue.
You take it in there, they could tell me anything. They're like, "You need a new A, B, C, D." It's like,
Mhm.
"Okay, cool."
Yeah,
And then the
fix
only
it.
way you could verify it is to be like, take the thing, pay the fee because they charge you like $100 and then take it to another guy and have him look at it and see if he
A
says
diagnostic
yeah, and see if they
fee.
do the same thing. And have you ever seen the diagnostics? They just plug a machine in there and it spits out error codes.
For the most part, that's what it
Yeah.
is. If
I
it's
mean, they might
something
go under the hood and look, but I've seen
yeah,
them do it before. It's a to me, that is a giant scam that we just accept.
I wholeheartedly agree in that, and, you just accept it. Like, that's a perfect example. Like,
And
you just
I
walk
do
in, you
wanna
say, "Oh, it's that much?
yeah,
Man."
I do wanna clarify, there are 100% great, honest auto repair shops out there. I'm
Oh,
sure
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah, all those good
if you
people. Yeah,
gotta
yeah,
get
yeah, yeah.
but probably 5 or 10% that just rake you over the coals, and you don't know because you don't know anything about cars.
Also, okay, my guy worked on it for 4 hours. Okay. Did he?
Sure.
Did he work on it
4
for
4
4
hours of
hours?
labor? Did he work on it for 15 minutes? Whatever you say, boss.
Whatever, yeah. Cool. That's a good one. I
I
hate
thought
that
so.
so like,
And you
my
have to
wife's
do it. Like, what do you do? Just drive a broken car? You
yeah,
can't.
can't, especially when you get it towed there. It's
Ugh.
like, "Oh, I'm gonna go get a second opinion. Great.
Let me
Let me
yeah,
call the tow truck and
$300
go."
for another tow, 180 for
Oh my
that.
gosh. That's
It's
they
like, just fix it. Just charge me whatever you want so I can
I'll
go
tell you
home.
what, daycare and auto places, they
They're all you
get
know
you.
what? They're probably owned by the same guy.
Oh, I'm sure it is. Probably Nestle.
Big John's Daycare and Auto Body Shop.
Garbage. Where am I at? Am I on beer 3?
Beer
I'm
3.
so I'm so fired up on these.
They're good.
God. All right, where am I at? Beer number 3 for me, expiration dates.
A hard disagree.
I If something is in my fridge, for example, small example, I got some cottage cheese, love me some cottage cheese. It's like a month expired. I open it up, give it the old smell test, it's good to go.
It's funny
Now
you say
now
this.
now, the next day, my wife threw it away because it was expired. I was like, "No, no, 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 no. It was still good. I had some, but it's gone."
It's gone now. It's funny you say this. Joy and I were talking about this today because somebody at her work was asking if it's okay to eat week-old cooked chicken,
Ooh,
and
no.
so 4 days is kind of my line on cooked chicken, and at the 4-day mark, what I do is you give it the smell test, and then I take a little bite, and as long as it tastes good, then I'm good to eat it. After that, like day 5 or 6, I, for myself, would still give, like, a smell test, and if it tastes okay, maybe, but I wouldn't give it to Jory or my kids
There's
after
going
that
to
point.
be, especially for chicken,
But I meant food in general,
day
like
day day 4 is pushing it, like,
day
bless your heart.
4 and all the things on there. To me, and again, this is for me. If I smell it and it tastes fine, it's probably okay. But I'm pretty good at smelling when something's off. Like, oh no,
Now
I don't like
now
that.
what it is for me, I think, is they want you to throw it away and buy more. That's just my conspiracy theory on that.
Yeah, I'll give you with dairy, like, with milk and the expiration date, I definitely give it the sniff, and I'm like, "Alright, that's good.
No,
That's good for
if
another
it
day."
sour milk is actually completely healthy for you. There's the same nutritional
It's
value.
not good though. That don't start on that with me. It's
Oh,
it's sour, it tastes terrible.
yeah, but it's not gonna make you sick.
I'll
1000% will
probably
not make you
vomit
sick.
though trying to drink
Mhm.
it.
I've seen my kid pick up a bottle of milk from, like, 4 days and just chug it, and he's
Just
fine.
threw up a little in my mouth.
That's fine.
Um, alright.
Expiration dates, they're scams.
Expiration
It's a
dates.
scam. I'm sorry.
Except on chicken, guys. Don't mess with beef, with chicken, with raw meats and fishes.
Fishes, for sure.
Apparently, Drew's saying you can just do whatever you want with dairy. That's
No, you
his.
give it
That's
the
very
smell test.
specific.
You give it the
I
smell
am a big
test, it's
fan
gonna
of the
be
smell
fine.
test. All right, so my next one, and this one I think you got to hear me out all the way, on it, but it's the 8-hour workday, 5-day work week. I
Oh,
think
that
that's
I'm
crock.
you just
It
took my
was
number 6.
invented it was invented by the Ford manufacturing plant because they figured that that was the most time they could get out of guys building cars to do their one menial task on the line before the production fell off. There is no business going into an office and sitting in a computer for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. You should have a list of tasks you need to accomplish, and whether that takes you 60 hours a week or it takes you 20 hours a week, that's what you should do. I get paid to do a certain job, whether I get that job done in 4 hours or 10. Because right now, the way that offices work is you've got like, if you work fast, if you're good at your job, you can get your work done in an office in a couple hours. And you look around and half the people just are schmoozing half the day. You're walking around other people's offices, having a
This
cup of
guy, yep,
coffee.
me.
I mean, but you have to do that in office too, because that's like the social part of getting promotions and stuff. It's such a crock. List of tasks. Once you complete those tasks, get home. Go do whatever else you gotta do with your day.
Or or ask for more work. "Hey, I'm
Yeah.
done with this. What do you
Hey,
got
click
next?"
that. Put a bonus structure in there for people that
Yep,
complete more. And then this goes for tasks that can be assigned. You know, if you're on call or you're working a service job where you have to be in a store, obviously you have to be there for a certain amount of time to get
100%.
paid. So this
Yeah.
is for
You're
like,
working the register for 8 hours?
yeah,
That's your
this
job.
is for like task jobs in an office where it's like, okay, like sales is a perfect example. If I got to hit, a $50,000 sales goal for this quarter and I hit that in a month, I should either have bonus structures in place to keep me coming back for more for going over that, or they're like, "You're good, man. Great work." But why would you stay there? And I realize those things are in place in a lot of companies, but that's just an example. But same thing, if you're working at an event type thing and you get everything done, you just got to sit at the office and stare with nothing to do, which a lot of people do. Why do you think YouTube gets a billion hits a day? Eight
Love
hour work
YouTube.
week, 8-hour work day, 5-day work week. Just get your stuff done and go home.
I wholeheartedly believe I learned more from YouTube tutorials than I did from college.
Working in video, I can probably attest to that too. I learned a lot more about making videos on YouTube.
Okay, so I have the standard 40-hour week on my list as well.
It's a good one.
Kudos. What are we on?
4. Beer
I don't
number
even know.
4.
Beer number 4. See, this is what happens when I get too far down the line. I forget where I'm at. All right, beer number 4 for me, voting.
It is a crock.
It's a crock. It's a crock of shit with a capital S. It's garbage. You mean to tell me,
It's important to vote though, kids.
oh, super
Do
important.
your civic duty.
I mean, do I do it? Yes,
It's
because
more important to vote in
you
like
get
your
a cool little
local
sticker.
it's
You get
more
a cool
important
little
to vote in
sticker.
your local and state election, but I
Yes.
mean,
You mean to tell me that every single counted vote is accurate? You mean to tell me there's no shenanigans going on in the middle of the night with the mail-in voting or the computers? It's a crock. It's
I'm not saying it's
garbage.
just I think elections have been rigged and tampered with since the early
Forever.
days. I mean,
Forever. Yes.
have you seen Gangs of New York?
This is I have not. This is not
There's a
election
scene of the
fraud
early
is
1900s where basically the premise was they kept just running the immigrants through the voting booths to get their guys elected. So they'd be like, they would take the voters to vote, and then they'd take them to the barber, shave them, and take them back again. And they
Oh,
were just,
jeez.
and
You
I
don't even
mean,
have to give them a haircut anymore.
right? It's all digital.
It's all digital.
I'm with you.
Mail-in voting blows my mind. How is that? There's so much room for fraud in that.
You're gonna love my next pick. You're gonna love my fourth beer.
Yeah,
Tax
move on from
taxes
me.
taxes.
Well, maybe.
Where do they go?
It's gotta pay for stuff somehow.
I've seen Michigan roads.
Oh, they're
They're not
garbage.
paying for
They're
the
bad.
roads. I mean, I
Well,
don't
are
know
they
what
pay
they're spending on. It's that, and we don't have to spend too much time on it, but I love the line in Independence Day where the dad was like, how have you guys been paying for all the aliens?" And the dad looks at me and goes, "What do you think? Taxes, 50,000 for a hammer, 20,000 for a toilet seat? You don't think that's really where it's all going, do you?" No clue what they're spending this money on. It's just blank checks that they take and print more. It makes no sense to me.
I
Scam.
mean, it's going to Ukraine, let's be honest. But I
Scam.
taxes are important for
Quick,
a
name me some
point.
things in your town that taxes pay for.
Education,
Do they? I thought you were
public
paying for
schools.
your kids', daycares.
Ugh, I mean, my kids do go to private school. Son of a bitch.
Just saying, bro. And, like, if
Listen,
you wanna talk about public schools, the teachers make dog money. They have to pay for their own supplies half the time, but yet you look at all these government officials that are making crazy salaries and living in multi-million dollar mansions, and we got teachers that gotta buy pens and erasers for it just doesn't make any sense to me. That's
you're
why I
not
think it's a
wrong.
scam. It's not that we pay taxes, it's where the taxes go that make it a scam, in my opinion.
Okay, so
It
how do you
doesn't come
fix it?
back to us.
How do you fix it?
Um, Term limits on all politicians, 2 to 4
Uh,
years.
how does that fix taxes?
Well, they won't
I
be able
agree.
to, so
Not
they
only do I
so I
agree with your
think if you have
statement, but how does that fix
politicians that do,
taxes?
I think that if you do that, they don't have time to put in enough policies that they would be able to take the funds and funnel them where they need to manipulate the system, that you'd have enough people coming through that are idealistic, that it could hopefully come back to things like schools, to things like road and infrastructure, to things in their actual communities. Boom.
I mean, yeah, we need a little bit of taxes, but you're right. It's a scam. Who knows where it's
I
going?
don't disagree that taxes are needed. I think the scam is how they appropriate all of our taxes. I would love to see it all go to schools and roads, and this is where the non-conservative part of me that goes, healthcare, like healthcare is crazy. That's on my list of things that are the
Oh,
pricing of that. All
it's
right,
on my list too.
your pick, beer 5.
Beer number 5. On a lighter note, getting away from political death conversations. Lip singing.
Lip syncing.
Did I say
That's a good one.
singing?
I think you said I don't know. You might have,
I mean, is
but
it lip
you're in.
syncing or lip
Syncing.
singing?
Yeah, because you wanna sync your lips to the playback. Lip
Whatever.
syncing.
That's what I meant.
Tomato,
It's a
tomato.
scam. It's a scam.
That's like the most basic definition of scam. It's like somebody pays to go to a concert and see you sing, and you don't sing.
You mean to tell me that people practice that as well?
Yeah, they have to.
It's a
Like,
scam.
you've been to concerts where they're out there and, like, then they stop and talk and they have their fun, like, things. They have to practice it.
Well, I mean, the concerts I've been to are oldies. Elton John,
Yeah.
Rod Stewart. I don't want to say Eminem is an oldie, but he's older.
He's almost 50 now.
Bros, those bros are singing. Okay,
Yeah. You can tell. Like, you
you
can
can't.
tell when they sound too good.
It's a scam.
That's very much a scam. Very much a scam. One that I have as being a scam, realtors,
Ugh. Yes,
3% for things that, like, the title
three,
company,
three,
6%,
six.
6%.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you're getting 6% for unlocking the door.
Well,
I have a buddy that does this, and I tease him. I'm like, it's a great way, like, to do that. But also, like, houses are so much more now. There was never a better time to be a realtor than like the last 5 years.
correct.
Good God. But to get 6% of like $500,000 house, $250,000 house that you had to go and show one time, you're telling me there's not like a service out there that would do the paperwork and check it for you for 500 or 1,000 bucks?
That was the main thing with me is my realtor. I sold my house for a disclosed amount of money,
Yeah,
$317,000 last year. 6% of that is $19,000
that's what I'm
that I
saying.
gave our realtor to do paperwork and show my house.
It's just I
I
know
think
there's stuff that goes into it, but it just seems like a crazy it just the amount of money that comes back doesn't seem it just doesn't make sense to me.
so. To show my house that day, let's just say that cost $2,000. Let's just say it. The paperwork is what? Probably a
It's
week's
like
worth.
1,000, 1,500 bucks on
Weeks.
something like that.
Yeah, yeah. Labor wise, let's do another 2,000. Let's say we're paying generous. 2,000 bucks. That's $15,000 of profit.
Preaching to the choir.
Man, amen to that. Was that mine or yours? Shit.
That was mine, realtors. But you took it like you nailed the points. I got nothing to add.
Uh,
And you know what the worst part is I've liked all the realtors that
oh,
like
I
I've
loved
met and
mine.
worked with. I think that's half the
She
appeals.
was so nice.
They're the nicest people. You'll like this. I had a buddy that told me he's like realtors are the baseball players of real life. Because like think about high school and college, baseball players were always like the fun and kind of like goofy because half of their sport you're just in the dugout bullshitting. So they automatically become better at conversation in the real world. So they're like, realtors are just the baseball guys of real life. Everybody likes them. Hockey guys like baseball guys. Football guys like baseball guys.
I get
Everybody
that.
likes the baseball guys. That's the
That makes
reality.
sense.
It made me laugh.
Uh, our realtor did an extremely good job setting up her house, though. I'll give her that.
Good staging. And the stuff they do does make a difference. I just think with the way housing prices have gone in the last 20 years, it's just wild.
We did get about $45,000 over asking, so maybe that's where that $19,000 commission falls into play.
Hey,
Or is that the market?
I
Whatever.
don't know.
My last beer here, and this is kind of getting back into some political nonsense, but why is dental and vision separate insurances? Why can't it just fall under the blanket of health insurance? Riddle me
I
that. Make it make sense. Like,
it's because it's all for profit, man. I actually and I won't use it on my next one, but I had hospitals and medical pricing.
oh,
It's
it's
just
terrible.
I
Yeah,
hate when you go in and you're like, you don't know what the price is.
I
You
have
don't know
US
what any
healthcare on mine as
yeah.
well.
You don't know what anything's gonna cost. You get done there like that was $17,000.
Yeah.
And then you'll be like, oh, well, I don't have health insurance. If you don't, I'm like, oh, okay. Well, how much can you
Oh,
pay?
that was
They're like, "How much can you
oh,
pay?"
it's now
And
4,000.
you're like, "Oh, I have
Oh,
$400 in my account. I'm a poor person." Like, "Oh, well, we could do like 1,200 bucks."
it's
And you're like, "Well,
it's
hold
like
on a sec. Is it 1,200 bucks or is it 17,000? I don't understand. I don't go into Walmart and get all the groceries or Publix or Kroger's and get a big cart full of groceries and come out and they're like, "Hey, this is 400 bucks worth of groceries." And you're like, "I got 30 bucks." They're like, "Well, we can do 100." Can you
um,
imagine if
it
anything else worked that way?
that reminded me of my favorite scene from Horrible Bosses when motherfucker Jones is negotiating like it's 10 grand. It's 10 large. They're like, oh man, we can't do 10 large. Well, now it's 500 bucks. They're like,
It's
oh,
like, I
I
do
guess
not that's very reasonable.
I guess that's a deal. Okay, we're
That
in.
was yeah, I don't understand how you negotiate, but yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. It's a crock because they know they'll get your insurance and they can just bill them whatever they want. It's silly.
It's thank you for
But
making an Irish car bomb on that
but
because
yeah,
it makes sense.
but why are they separate? Because then I think it all goes back to like insurance companies. The insurance companies
Yes,
don't want to have to cover all of it at one, and they know they can get an extra billing and keep it separate and add more rules. It's nuts. The insurance industry and what they cover and don't cover and how it makes no sense to me. It's
that's
and
like
I
it's like a blanket umbrella scam.
Yeah, they're just like, "We're gonna take your money. If you get sick, we'll figure it out together. Like, you're still gonna pay a lot, but, like, we're gonna take some off, and they're gonna bill a different amount, but you're never really gonna know, and then you're just gonna randomly get a bill and have to trust it's the right amount."
It's bad.
It's, nobody explains it.
Hey, give me something that's not gonna make me depressed for your last beer, please.
That's a scam that's not gonna make you depressed. So, like, a good scam, 3 card Monty. 3 card Monty is a scam that we just no, uh, yeah, oh, I'll give it to you. One that'll make you happy. Gambling. This wasn't on my list, but I wanna make you happy. We love to gamble. We know we're gonna
Yes,
lose long term, but
in the long run,
we
yes.
buy into it because it's fun, and, like, there's that thrill of, "I could win some money here." I know the odds are against me in blackjack, even in a small amount. I know the odds are against me on all the table games. I hate even looking at the slot machines because I feel like I lose money.
Slot machines, scam.
It's just gambling's a scam,
They're
but
called scam machines.
not only do we accept gambling's a scam, we're trying to legalize it everywhere. We're
We
like,
keep
please
cranking it.
let us. Just give me the chance to give you. Just give me the opportunity to shut up and take my money. That's the one I'll give you that hopefully doesn't depress you and makes you happy. Gambling,
I
huge
appreciate
scam.
that because
It's the
I
only
I
business that
like
we're like, you're gonna lose, but come here. We'll try and make you have a good time losing your money.
listen, I like I like to explain my gambling habits as this sounds terrible. So just take it with a grain of salt and just say, let's move on after I say it. But like, I could be an alcoholic. I could be an abusive spouse. Nope. I'd rather just gamble.
I just threw a couple dollars on the ponies.
So bad. You might even want to edit that out.
I want,
Whatever.
yeah. Yeah. I had one I was talking to Jory the other day, and she was like, "You're on your phone too much." And I was like, "Yeah." I said, "But I could have a real problem. Like, I could be a drunk." I said, "I could gamble away our mortgage payment."
That's what I'm saying.
I
That's
said,
the
like,
exact, yeah.
if your big issue is I spend too much time on my phone, I'm like, I feel like we could work through this. We'll be okay. So, all right, so that's our six pack. Um, I think it was pretty fun. A little depressing on the things that are scam. It turns out
Yeah.
Drew and I both have a healthy distrust of the government.
Oh,
Um,
very. I think that I'll cheers to that.
if you take away one thing, healthy did we basically just want our money to be left alone and a clear cut of how people are spending it and what the costs of things are. But fun topics. Detroit Lions. Let's talk about some off-season stuff. I don't know if you saw this today. I saw this, but not the John Morant stuff somehow. The Detroit Lions are in contract negotiations with Jamal Williams.
As they should be.
Yep. And it looks like he's going to get the bag. I think he's 27 or 28, which is about the year most running backs fall off. How do you feel
Mhm.
about him securing the bag?
What's I did see the
I
announcement,
didn't
but I
see
didn't.
details. I just think it'll
Okay.
probably be a big deal.
I hope that it's 2 to 3 years. I'll accept four and try to get 3 good years out of it. But um, a couple weeks ago, he verbally announced he wants to stay in
Hmm.
Detroit. So I think that might have cost him a couple million, honestly. Because if he said, you know what, I'm going to take a look at what's available, that forces the hand on Detroit to make a move
Hmm.
that is higher than what they would. But whatever.
If they really wanted to keep him, yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate the honesty, but I would never show my cards in
No.
that situation. Um, but at the end of the day, I put in my notes here: are we overthinking how easy this decision is as Lions fans? And if we're putting ourselves in the general manager's shoes, is this too easy of a decision?
Um, I think just because of what he means to the locker room, it's probably a good move. Like, can you
Mhm.
put a price on leadership and like the locker room guy?
Yeah,
Like
value J Will's
realistically,
more than stats.
yeah, he's a very good running back. I think we have a good running back room. The NFL is becoming a league where you don't have to have an elite running back to be super successful. I mean, look at the teams that were in the Super Bowl this year. Um, Pacheco was a rookie. Okay, the Eagles did it by committee, so
Mhm.
it's not exactly something that you have to spend top dollar on. So I don't hate having a couple of them. I hope we get him at a good price. I hope he gets enough of the bag that he's happy because I think he deserves it. I think he's played really
Yeah,
well throughout his career. I like that he's trying to build in Detroit. So I think you nailed it. I would love to see 2, maybe 3-year deal. I don't want a 4-year deal on him. But I love Jamal Williams. I'm glad that he's getting paid, and I he's one of the guys that I think will get the contract and work harder. There's
yeah.
2 players in the NFL. There's the guys that get the bag and they kind of let themselves go.
Stallsworth.
Yeah, Stallsworth, the Albert Hainsworths of the world. I think he's gonna. I don't think he's gonna quit. I think he's gonna work harder. I think he's gotten kind of a sniff of success and and individual and team success this year with the Lions. He had 17 touchdowns. They ended up as a winning team. They had a shot at the playoffs. I think he's going to put the work in and come back and hopefully be really good again. I like it. That's my verdict. Final sip. I'm pro Jamal Williams. Give me a 3-year deal on him. Fair for both sides. Ideally, I hope he gets paid. I hope the Lions don't go too far. Bring him
By the way, I
back.
think I made up the name Stallworth. I was thinking
Didn't
the
Dante
guy you said.
Stallworth get a big deal and then get like a
Is it
DUI and
Dante
fall off
Dante
the map?
Stallworth? All right, maybe
Yeah,
maybe I
because
wasn't
he
making
like
that name
killed
up.
a guy.
I
He
was
got a big
definitely
deal.
thinking of the guy that you mentioned.
Yeah.
That was the verbal sound I was trying to make.
Hainsworth, Stallworth. You were in the right neighborhood.
So
So
Jay Will's a perfect leadership balance to Goff.
yeah,
Goff is that straight shooter, business first. I'm gonna
love
hype
you
my
some
guys
you
up.
love you some Godfather.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Let me Godfather preach right now. But he's the perfect leadership to him. Goff is that straight shooter, professional. This is what we need to do. This is how we're going to do it. And then we're going to celebrate afterwards. Jay Will, he's just a goofy SOB all the way through, but his goofiness doesn't take away from his gameplay.
It's very
That's what's,
genuine too.
yes, that's what's important to him. You can be goofy like Chad Ochocinco and lose your touch. So, um, cons of bringing Jay Will back. I don't think he'll have a better season as he just did.
No, that was probably his career season.
Yeah. So we're going to see a drop in production, which touchdown wise, that's
Here's the thing.
obviously going to happen. He's
I
not
don't
going to break that record again.
Nope, you took the words out of my mouth. I don't need him to score all the touchdowns as long as we have similar rushing touchdowns between the backfield. Where
Yeah.
he gives us a lot of push is that inside the tackle running. I think if he continues to give us really good inside the tackle, red zone running, if he doesn't score as many touchdowns, I don't care as long as we're still scoring touchdowns and winning. Where I want to see him is those inside the tackle, off tackle runs, getting 5 to 15 yards.
Hmm.
He really runs the ball well in the hard yard areas. If he does that, that's fine by me. And then let whether it's Swift or whether it's some of these other guys like Reynolds or even a new running back coming in and getting some touches, doesn't matter to me. As long as we get roughly the same amount of rushing touchdowns or more, because our run game was great this year and he is still running the ball well, I'm happy.
Wholeheartedly agree. One thing that does frighten me a little bit is we lost our assistant coach, running backs coach, Staley, to the same position to the Panthers. His work with Williams made a difference in the last couple of years. So we'll see if the new coach coming in
I'll be
can
honest with
continue
you.
that.
I don't know how much, and I do think it's beneficial to have a position coach like Deuce Staley that knows, but he's 28 now. Jamal Williams knows the NFL. He knows the thing. I don't know how much of an
I agree.
impact the position coach, and
I
I'm
agree.
hoping the position coach will have on it. We still have Ben Johnson at OC. I'm hoping that'll be more than enough to bridge the gap.
I Yeah, I agree. But you lose a little bit of that guy.
I'll be honest, when I watched Hard Knocks, I didn't really like Deuce Staley, and I liked him as a player. he was kinda all over the place, he's jawing with Aaron Glenn. I was like, "Dude, just coach your players." Like, I don't wanna see, like, the jawing back and forth with Aaron Glenn. It's not about you. You're not a player anymore. Get in there and coach them up.
Well, he might have had a microphone in front of his face, and he was trying to show
It
up
was
with
on
it.
Hard Knocks, but, I mean,
Yeah,
that was just my personal opinion. And I like a loud, flamboyant guy,
I know. I'm well aware.
but it was annoying me. So what can I say?
You like that?
Speaking of loud, flamboyant guys, the Detroit Football Lions are the top suitor for Jalen Ramsey in a potential trade. Do we like Jalen in Honolulu blue?
My only response to that is at what cost?
Yeah, that's the literal $1,000,000 question in that scenario. What do you got to give up to get him? How much do you got to pay him? Love the idea of getting an all-pro corner at age 28. I mean, literally been one of the Lions' biggest hole on defense for my lifetime since Dre Bly to have
Sure,
an elite corner, to have a Pro
sure.
Bowl corner, really. So, love the idea of bringing him. He immediately brings credibility, swagger, and shuts down a third to a half of the field to a lot of course. I would love to see him against Jay Jettas twice a year. Want to see that matchup as many times as I can get it. Um, and I think with Joseph, Kirby Joseph, the secondary that they could build could be very dangerous.
It could
You
be a
nailed it.
no-fly zone.
You nailed it on the head, especially when you think about the pass rush that they're building in Detroit, and then you put Jalen Ramsey on the back end. Oh my goodness, could be insane. Can they work out a deal that doesn't cripple the salary
The
cap?
future, yeah.
And yeah, we've got picks. We've got picks.
That
We
was
got a
my thing.
little. We've got a
Is
little
he
bit of
worth is
money.
he a second? Is he a second and a fourth?
I'd give up a first round for Jalen Ramsey.
A first round.
I would give up a first rounder for Jalen. He's an all pro. Like I pulled up. So let's just look at his resume. He's a Super Bowl champion, former fifth overall pick. He has been a first time or a three-time first team all pro, not a pro bowler, an all pro 2017, 2020, 2021, six-time pro bowler, all rookie, national champion, all American. Like the dude can ball.
Yeah,
He
he's
hasn't lost a step yet. He is arguably in the peak of his prime. So that plays into asking price. I'd be shocked if you could get him for less than like a first round, probably plus a pick.
I
Um,
thought he's a first rounder. Well, what do Rams have to give up?
I don't remember what they gave up
Okay.
for him.
Because I at his age, I just don't know if he's a first rounder anymore. I'm not gonna argue against it, but I thought a second and a fourth, or maybe a second and a CUDA, or you know,
Uh-huh. Yeah, give him a CUDA. A
yeah,
matter of fact, even if they don't ask for a CUDA, can we
just
just
give it to him.
can
Yeah.
we add him into the trade? He was traded to the Los Angeles Rams October 15th, 2019 for a 2020 first round pick that was eventually used on Calavion Chason and a 2021 first round pick. So he was traded for two first round picks 2 years ago and a fourth round pick. The other first round pick was used for Travis Etienne, and it doesn't say who the fourth round pick was used on. So yeah, I mean,
I mean,
they gave up.
Jaguars.
So
ETN
just
ETN's awesome. He's the
would
future.
you give up a awesome running back and nobody first round draft pick for Jalen Ramsey today? Because realistically, think about it this way: as it comes to first round picks, unless you nail a quarterback, what position would you be comfortable drafting a Hall of Famer and having that instead of Jalen Ramsey?
See, outside of the quarterback, there is no position that lasts or spends their career on that team. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get what you mean. Like they're probably not going to be a career player.
So the goal of a first round pick outside of maybe the center and the quarterback is to get a guy that you can have great success with for 5 to 6 years until they hit that next free agency around for them. It's either you extend them because they earned it, or let them fly because you can't afford them anymore,
Yeah. So yeah, I mean,
or
my
trade them
my
for more
point on
picks.
that is you could keep the picks and you could draft a couple busts, which honestly is kind of our MO in Detroit,
Yeah,
or you could use them
sadly.
and take somebody that,
Now,
and puts us in win now kind of territory.
I'll tell you
I
what,
don't hate it.
let's just
Give
get
me
a
him.
tight end.
Give me
Let's
him.
just get a tight end.
Did you see the mock draft that had us taking a tight end at 6?
I hope that guy lost his Twitter blue check mark.
I spit out my coffee. I was like, no, get out of here. Go away. Not going to talk about it.
At 6 or 18.
At 6. I'll have to find it and I'll
No,
retweet it and send it out. But there was a mock draft that
no.
had Detroit taking a tight end at 6, and I'll be
That's
honest, I got mad. I got
that's
mad.
garbage. That's
I
garbage.
got mad looking at a mock draft. Just
Um,
that they would. So, all right, I want to give you the final sip on this one because I think I've made mine clear as I'm pro Jalen Ramsey and getting him to Detroit. Why he would want to come to Detroit after living in LA and Florida, I don't know. But I would love to see him there.
Final sip on that. I'm gonna stick to my original comment. It's at what cost? I don't want to cripple the future, but at the same time, as a Detroit Lions fan with a little bit of momentum and hope for this next year, we're in win now mode.
I'm all for it. I think we have the ninth best odds in Vegas at the Super Bowl.
It's unreal.
Yeah, it was like 12 to 1, 10 or
It's
12 to
unreal.
1 we were, which was the number 9 team. We haven't been that high. And I can't think of a time when.
Never.
Um,
Uh, never.
not
How
I
about
can't think
that?
of we were maybe that year we had Calvin Johnson, Sue, like 2012 or 2013. We might have been top 10, but I don't know. Rainier beers, my wine was a 3.5 out of 5. Go ahead, bud. Go ahead.
My no diggity hazy IPA. During the building of six packs, I was getting so depressed with the reality of these scams. I ripped through three of them during that little segment. Um, it's a 4. It's a 4 out of 5. That's a good beer. It's a good beer, but like it's not great. Whatever.
All right, buddy. Go ahead and parent your kids.
Hey,
Well,
see you later, guys. I'm
see you
out.
later, guys. All right, so we'll be back next week where I will recap my trip to Vegas, which we didn't even really touch on this week. Drew's taken off to parent his children, and we've got a pretty good "Would You Rather" that we'll talk about in the post TPC Sawgrass event week. So we have a golf related "Would You Rather." We'll see you guys next week. See ya.